everyone, it's Rihanna and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a quick, relaxed tag video. I saw this video a while ago on Cinema Darling's channel, Francesca's channel. I'll leave the link to her channel down below, and it just looked really interesting and my creative juices are just not flowing today, so we're going to do a tag video. So here goes the best movie from each year of my life tag. I was born in 1994, and also in 1994 we had some great movies like Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, and my pick, The Lion King. The Lion King, huge part of my childhood. It used to rewatch that thing on repeat. I think we probably broke our VHS from the amount of times we watched The Lion King. It brought my love for Disney. It's hilarious, it's a great story. Everyone just loves The Lion King, and if you don't, you're lying or you're wrong. I mean, Lion King is one of the best Disney movies and one of the best movies ever made. For 1995, I chose A Little Princess, which was another massive part of my childhood. One of the most influential films I've ever seen. One that impacted me the most just because of the messages and values. It's a World War I story that tells the story of a little girl named Sarah whose dad has to go off to war, and she has to learn her path on her own and make friends and just tell people to be nice to each other and good to each other. And as I grew older and noticed like the directing style from Alfonso Cuarón, who's just amazing, and the cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki, and if any of you know me personally, you know that I love Emmanuel Lubezki, like to the grave. You'll know that I love every frame of this film. I love the messages and values, the acting, the story. It's just a gorgeous film all around. For 1996, I chose yet another childhood favourite, which is Matilda. I used to love Roald Dahl's books and Roald Dahl's films of his books, and this one was just a great adaptation. I love the story, I love the character of Matilda. I mean, I grew up with her as she was growing up in this story. Just Matilda was a childhood favourite. I still watch it now and I just get so much nostalgia from watching Matilda. For 1997, I'm going to steal Francesca's pick, and she chose Titanic. And I remember watching Titanic when I was around 11 and sobbing to death like after I'd finished it, because I'd never really known anything about Titanic up until I watched the film of it with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, who both give amazing performances, by the way. The story is incredibly touching. The film's really long, but super worth it. The build-up of their relationship and the build-up of the tension of the Titanic and the mechanics around it and stuff. It's an incredibly well-made film, and I just love Titanic. I don't even care. For 1998, I'm going to choose another Disney animation, which is Mulan, which I think is super underrated as a Disney movie. She's a great Disney princess. It's a great story. Her saving China. Mushu was hilarious, voiced by Eddie Murphy. I mean, he's one of the best Disney sidekicks ever to be in Disney. Mulan's super underrated. I keep saying that, but it is super underrated, and she's underappreciated as a Disney princess. But Mulan's a great animated film and has an amazing soundtrack as well. For 1999, I'm gonna have to choose Francesca's pick again, which is Fight Club. Fight Club is incredibly well made by David Fincher, has some great performances from Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, and just, it's overall one of my favourite movies. I did a review for it, which you can go check out here. Just every single time you watch Fight Club, you find something new and incisive to the film, a new theme, a new mood, a new piece of information. It's incredible what David Fincher did with this film. It's not his most popular film, I'd say that was Seven. It's my personal favourite from his, and I think it's just a masterpiece of a film all around. Going into a new century, we're in the 2000s, and for 2000 I chose Requiem for a Dream, and this film really did impact me. One, it made me never ever want to do drugs. I'd never do it anyway, but I'd never want to do it after watching that. Not in a million years after seeing Requiem for a Dream. And two, how the hell did they make a film with such a subject matter look so nice? The film is directed by Darren Aronofsky and stars Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly, and tells the story of three addicts from around LA, and just Requiem for a Dream is mind-blowing, to be honest. When you first watch it, you're so fixated, you think you're in the characters' positions, you get so scared, and the tension builds up so well in the film. It's one of those ones you just get super immersed in, and it's really disturbing to watch. For 2001, I chose a beautiful French film called Amélie, which is somewhat of a rom-com telling the story of Amélie and how she finds this box of things from this little boy, and she's in search of him, and he turns out to be this older man, and they end up falling in love, and it's a beautiful story, and it's got great cinematography and acting as well. For 2002, I had to choose my favourite Lord of the Rings movie, which is The Two Towers, mainly just for the Battle of Helm's Deep, because it is so freaking epic. I love The Two Towers. The banter between Gimli and Legolas keeps me going. It gives me life. I love all of the characters' plot lines in this story as well, even Sam and Frodo and Gollum. Yeah, I even love their storylines, and I love their journey to Rohan, and obviously the Battle of Helm's Deep. I can't get enough of that. I will literally sit there and rewatch that scene over again because it's epic. I couldn't leave a Pixar movie out of this list, so for 2003 I chose Finding Nemo, which every aspect of it is just hilarious. And Ellen DeGeneres as Dory, the fish are friends not food quote, every single line is just hilarious, and it's such a relatable film even though the two main characters are fishes, but it's a father-son relationship and everyone can relate to that. For 2004, how could I not mention the iconic Mean Girls, written by Tina Fey, starring Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams. Mean Girls, I have seen so many times I can quote that thing back to front, and I will never ever be sick of watching it. It's one of the most hilarious movies, one of the most quotable movies, and just one of the most relatable movies for teenage girls. Who does not know a Regina George? Everyone knows a Regina George. Just comedic genius from Tina Fey in Mean Girls. For 2005, I chose the best of the Star Wars prequels, Revenge of the Sith. Now, specifically, I remember watching this film in the cinema because my mum fell asleep. I was with my mum, my sister, and my stepdad, and me and my sister and my stepdad were sat there like at the ending fight scene with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. My mum, however, fast asleep. She can't do it. She can't sit through a film. I don't think she can. It's going to be interesting watching The Force Awakens with her when it comes out later this year. But I love Revenge of the Sith. I didn't even care. I think the battle sequences are epic, and I just love the conclusion to the prequels. For 2006, I couldn't choose between The Fall, which is my favourite movie ever because it's just a beautiful story with great acting, and The Prestige, which is also a beautiful story with great acting directed by Christopher Nolan. They're two very different movies, but they just tell great stories, and I will never be sick of rewatching The Fall or The Prestige because The Prestige has one of the best plot twists, and every single time you watch it you find something new, and The Fall is just one of those movies you can immerse yourself in because the cinematography and world building is just so good. For 2007, I chose a comedy fantasy movie directed by Matthew Vaughn, and that is Stardust. Another one of my favourite movies of all time, and it's super underrated as well. It's got a great ensemble cast. It's super funny. The world building's great. It's based on a book by Neil Gaiman, so it's super imaginative and inventive. Stardust is just super hilarious, a great journey movie as well. For 2008, how could I not mention The Dark Knight? This is the best superhero movie ever made, and it's such a game changer for superhero movies as well. The dark tone, the direction from Christopher Nolan, the acting, especially from Heath Ledger as the Joker, who has just become iconic, the story, everything is interesting in this movie from the acting to the dialogue, and it's really hard to balance that out. And with the pacing as well, just The Dark Knight just brings everything together that you want in a gritty, realistic superhero movie. For 2009, I chose my favourite Quentin Tarantino movie, which is Inglourious Basterds. I speak the most Italian. Gorlami. Margareti. I'm sorry. I quote Inglourious Basterds a lot. It's not Quentin Tarantino's best film, that is Pulp Fiction. It's my favourite Quentin Tarantino movie though. It's a retelling of World War II and follows a bunch of Nazi hunters led by Brad Pitt, and it's just hilarious. It follows several different stories, but his in particular, it's so good. It's another one of those films I will never get tired of rewatching just because the jokes do not end, and Quentin Tarantino is famous for his dialogue scenes that go on and on and on, and even then the action mixed with the dialogue, every single little bit of this movie is interesting and entertaining. For 2010, I could have chose The Social Network, which is another great film, but I chose Inception, which is one of the most influential films I've ever seen, directed by Christopher Nolan. The dream within a dream thing just blew my mind, really. The inventive and creative side of that film is what drives me to make original creative stories. Christopher Nolan has incredibly inspired me in my film life, and just Inception, I'll never get sick of watching it. The score, the acting, the dialogue, the story world, it's just incredible filmmaking. For 2011, we saw the ending of the Harry Potter saga with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Watching this film in the cinema was super emotional for me because I was in the Harry Potter generation. There was the books that came out, and then I grew up with the films, and watching these characters go in this epic finale, super emotional, super nostalgic looking back at my life with Harry Potter. Yeah, just watching these characters grow and watching these actors grow and this story is I'm getting nostalgic just thinking about Harry Potter right now. I'm gonna have to go watch my box set. 2012 saw the massive Marvel movie build up to The Avengers, which was directed and written by Joss Whedon. It saw all of our favourite Marvel superheroes team up against the best Marvel superhero villain, Loki. It's great how all these characters can just come together and bounce off each other. They don't necessarily like each other to begin with, but then we get to the ending battle scene with the Chitauri and it's just epic. Joss Whedon did a great job of balancing out action with dialogue, and every piece of this is either comedic or has character development. Every single bit of it is entertaining and engrossing, and I just can't get over that ending battle scene. It's so good. For 2013, I couldn't not mention a Hunger Games movie, so I chose The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. This is undoubtedly my favourite out of the Hunger Games movies so far. This was a game changer for the Hunger Games movies, considering the first one not many people liked. They thought it was too indie-ish and the special effects were weird and it didn't expand the world of Panem enough. And in Catching Fire, Francis Lawrence just went boom, take it all in, and just have all these awesome new characters, awesome new places to explore in Panem, and we're just gonna throw it at you. And everyone really liked, from what I've heard, Catching Fire. And for the last year, 2014, I had to choose Birdman. Birdman was such a game changer for films for me. The direction from Alejandro González Iñárritu was ridiculous. His idea is innovative and engrossing and just goes from level to level. Every single time I think of Birdman, I just get creative ideas. Every time I think of the cinematography by Emmanuel Lubezki, who I've already told you that I adore him. It's just ingenious the way this film is done, and how it's not in the IMDb top 250 is beyond me, because Birdman says so much about films today. It says so much about the industry, it says so much about critics, about acting, about trying to be relevant in today's society. It goes on about social media. There's theories of the main character Regan Thompson's psyche, and just every single layer to Birdman is just so interesting, engrossing. This film never gets old for me. The acting performances, that monologue from Emma Stone, it was just incredible. Birdman for me is just a masterpiece and one of the best films ever made, because it is just so well made and just says so much about today's society. It's ridiculous when it comes into terms of filmmaking. I can't get enough of Birdman. There you have it, guys. That was the best movie for each year of my life tag. I'm going to be tagging Nicole from Nix and Nax and Mariana from Impression Blend to do this tag. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll have a lot more TV related and movie related videos for you guys very soon. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you today. Bye!